What's up, guys? This is RG, and I'm giving you another high definition broadcast. This time it's going to be on the Monk PvP skills. I've been asked by a lot of my subscribers to go ahead and do this video for the beta patch 5. Also, I'd like to address the comments in my channel. Actually, I went on the Diablo forums and I went into my account and I actually petitioned to get my account reactivated. I stated some arguments about why I should have my account activated and this and that. And I'm actually having a senior of the account administration staff, I guess. He's looking at my account and he is deliberating, I guess, with his colleagues, seeing if I could get my account reinstated. So, I will answer you guys' comments. It all depends on this guy's decision. So, we're gonna go ahead and get into this video now. So here we go. The Way of the 100 Fists is the first skill you want to get. And that's because it is a rapid series of punches, reminiscent of the Fist of Thunder. So it's quicker than the rest of these punches. And it deals 145% weapon damage. So it's going to be a high amount of damage. I'm going to gear that with the Fist of Fury, which is the Crimson Runestone. It's going to give you additional 31% weapon damage each second for 5 seconds. So you want to get that right there, because each attack is going to put that debuff on, and even if they run away from you, you're going to be hitting them with that dot, which is a damage over time. So next one is going to be Crippling Wave, and this was changed from my last video. The last time I used Lashing Kick with a Scorpion Sting. This time I'm going to do a Crippling Wave with the Concussion. That's because they changed the Crippling Wave. It now does more damage, and the third attack slows movement by 50% and attack speed by 35% for 4.5 seconds. And if you include this concussion with it, it also cripples them. The crippling wave, any of the attacks of the crippling wave will inflict 50% less damage. The enemy will inflict 50% less damage for 6 seconds. So that gives them a 50% damage debuff on the enemy. So the way we're going to use that is we're going to have these two skills synergize with each other. And by synergize, I mean work together. So it comes from the word synergos. So it means to work together or to function together. So here we go. So we're gonna use 2 attacks with this Way of Thunder. Way of 100 Fists. So we're gonna use that on our left click, and we're gonna use the Crippling Wave on our right click. So we're gonna go hit the left click twice, and then the right click will be Crippling Wave, so that the third attack will go ahead and do that debuff, which is the movement speed debuff, 50%, and then the attack speed debuff, which is 35%. And that's for 4.5 seconds, as well as hitting him with the 50% less damage, and this also synergizes with a different skill. So we're going to go down to the next one, Breath of Heaven, and we're going to gear that with the Indigo Runestone, which is going to gain us more heal. So it increases our heal all the way up to 3,128, and then yeah, that's definitely the way to go, because it's the other ones, they don't affect your allies, they only affect yourself. So you want to be able to use this this heal skill to synergize with your allies. So just basically buff you and your allies at the same time. Also, you could also switch it up and use this this one right here, the Alabaster Runestone. It's going to give you a fear for 2.25 seconds on your enemies, and they take 20% weapon damage per second as holy while they flee. Really, I would just go with the extra heal, because it's better that way. It's going to give you more life and your allies more life. Rather than, if you want to really go offensive with it, then go ahead and get the fear. But otherwise, I would say go with the heal. The next one is going to be Dashing Strike. You're definitely going to want to be able to get around the map as fast as possible, so mobility is key as a a melee character. Really, as any character, mobility is key, but definitely in PvP, mobility is key, and you want to be able to go as a melee character around the map as fast as possible. So with this, you want to also be able to receive a 21% increased chance to dodge for 9 seconds. You could also switch this out to the movement speed if you want to be more offensive with it. It's really your choice. But you only gain that 40% movement speed for 3 seconds. But 3 seconds is a pretty long time for having 40% bonus movement speed. So you can go offensive with it, or you can go defensive with it, which I would suggest with the dodge, because you're going to be up in their face, and I don't get any dodge mantras or anything like that. So you want to go ahead and get the blinding speed. Next one is going to be Serenity. So this is pretty much an invulnerability. It's reminiscent, if you ever play World of Warcraft, of a paladin bubble. If you've never played World of Warcraft, it's pretty much you're Superman for a little bit. You're invincible. You cannot, no damage is taken. So it's all incoming damage is pretty much reduced to 0%. So you can't take any damage for 3 seconds. Invulnerability for 3 seconds, and it also, with this Crimson Runestone equipped, it heals you for 9,300 to it's 11,400. So it's going to heal you for a lot when you invulnerability. So, and this also synergizes with one of my passive skills. So we're going to take a look at those in a little bit. But yeah, definitely want to keep it with this. You could also switch it up to this Tranquility, which lets your allies be invulnerable for 3 seconds, as well as yourself. So if you want to make your allies invulnerable for 3 seconds as well, then you can do that. Or I suggest, personally, you should heal yourself for a really high amount, because you're not going to really know when your allies need to be invulnerable. You're going to want to know, you're going to know yourself when you need to get that heal and want to be invulnerable. Alright? Because sometimes your allies will be like, oh, I had cooldowns at that moment, you didn't need to do that, or whatever. So you just need to do it for yourself, so just go ahead and do this, keep this heal for yourself. Next thing is going to be the Mantra of Conviction, and I'm going to switch it up with the, oh, by the way, the Mantra of Conviction gives you a 20% additional damage buff. Pretty much because the enemies around you are taking a 20% additional damage, so it's giving all your whole team. Any enemy within 20 yards of you takes 20% additional damage. So your whole team gets 20% additional damage on any target within 20 yards of you. So as long as you're in the fray, which is in the front lines, you're going to be giving that effect to them. So, and then it says for 3 seconds after activating this effect, is increased to 40% additional damage. So that's really great. That's what they changed. Remember, the patch changed all the mantras. So when you're in their face, you definitely want to pop the mantra of evasion. And what I mean by pop it is activate it. So you activate the mantra of evasion when you're in 20 yards of a bunch of enemies, or say if you're in the range of at least one enemy, you're going to want to pop this up. Don't pop it when you're away from your enemies, because that 3-second effect isn't going to take effect while you're away from them. You need to be in 20 yards of them. So always activate it when you're close to your enemies. So we're going to gear this with the Intimidation. The other one I did last time, I believe, was over or overwa. I don't know what the hell that is. So overawe. Anyways, so we're gonna go Intimidation, and enemies affected by the Mantra of Conviction inflict 30% less damage. So that is insane right there. So anybody that is within 20 yards of you is going to inflict 30% less damage. And remember, I said this synergized with one of my other skills. Boom, right here. Crippling Wave. Remember this? Enemies hit by Crippling Wave inflict 50% less damage. So every third hit, or even if you wanted to, say if you're getting damage really high, or you're sticking on a damage class that is really doing a lot of damage, and his damage needs to be mitigated. And by mitigated, I mean it needs to be weakened. So you want to hit him with a Crippling Wave, as well as your Mantra of Conviction, which is always should be on while you're in the fray or in the battle. is going to give them a 30% less damage. So this is 80% less damage if these two things are stacking. That's ridiculous. 80% less damage. Okay. So that is that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this Exalted Soul. It gives you increased maximum spirit by 100, which is ridiculous. It's yeah, a lot of spirit that you can gain from this. The maximum spirit is increased by 100. It's pretty much indispensable. You need this 100 spirit because that's your pool of for where you're going to use your skills at. Going to give you a lot of extra heals. That's 4 extra heals, and it's a bunch of things that you can do with your spirit here now. So the only skills really that have no cooldown is Dashing Strike and Breath of Heaven. So you're going to be able to use your heal a lot more with this Exalted Soul. Next thing you want is Passivism. So when stunned, feared, or charmed, all damage taken is reduced by 75%. So when you get CC'd, you're going to take reduced damage, and since your mantra is going to be on, remember it hits 30% less damage. So right there, your damage taken is reduced by 75, and this one is damage taken reduced by 30, so it's 30% less damage. So it's just ridiculous amount of damage reduction you have here. So you're going to be a really good tank, as well as doing a good amount of damage as well, and mitigating the damage of everyone else. Alright, and the last skill you want is this right here, which is Near Death Experience. So when you receive fatal damage, so when you die pretty much, you are instead restored to 35% maximum life and 35% spirit. So if you're super tanky, and by super tanky, you're really you have a high life, high vitality, and you're able to take a lot of damage. Even when you die and they actually kill you, your maximum life is put all the way back up and spirits all the way back up. Now, say you just got your near death experience and they're still on you. Say that they take you down all the way down to 10% life. Well, guess what? You have serenity, remember that? Invulnerability for 3 seconds, as well as healing yourself all the way up to 9,000, 10,000 life. So you have these skills that are just not gonna allow you to die at all. So if I were using this skill set, the best thing that the enemies could do is not target me first. They would always go for a different target, and that's what you want. You want them to be pretty much scared of targeting you and not wanting to target you at all. And guess what? Also, if they're not targeting you, you're mitigating their damage. You're weakening them. Remember, enemies hit by crippling wave inflict 50% less damage, as well as 30% less damage from this mantra of conviction. And when you activate it, it's giving them a 40% damage, additional damage taken, as well as having them, if you're in 20 yards of them, they take additional 20% damage. So you're pretty much an invulnerable character, and you're going to be a tank, and you're not going to be able to die, as well as mitigating a lot of damage and doing a decent amount of damage yourself. So you're not going to be like a super crazy damage dealer with this build, but I believe this is a very good build for a tanky DPS. Alright, so I think this is going to be really good build for that type of PvP arena setting, because a lot of players will just innately just attack the target with the lowest life or attack the closest target to them. So you always want to be in the fray. You always want to be up in their face and thinking that they're going to kill you, but boom, you could pop your Breath of Heaven twice in a row, and this heals for 3,000, you know, like a lot more than if you didn't have this Circle of Life on. So you're going to be healing all your allies around you, as well as healing yourself back up and tanking all the damage, as well as mitigating a lot of their damage while you're in there. And remember, this crippling wave is an AoE attack, so it's attacking a lot of enemies while you're slowing their attack speed, slowing their movement speed, and mitigating their damage 2 ways. So this is going to be a really, really good build. And when I saw this build myself, I was like, wow, this is going to be insane. I was thinking about actually making a monk second after a barbarian, instead of maybe a demon hunter or wizard. So this is a really good build, and I hope you guys use it to its best ability and keep on watching. And thank you guys for supporting me and continuing to support me. And go ahead and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna put it up again. And also, I just wanted to thank you guys again for watching. And yeah, take it easy. Peace.